I'm going to explain in a minute what I think my problems are. I've designed a new bobbin for the microwave laminations that I was talking about probably a couple of weeks ago. Just 3D printed it. This is just a test fit, really. I'll explain in. I'll let it cool a bit. Right, my original circuit board, I was using several chucks, toroidal chucks in series, including the big one, and single channel triac circuit, and the triac was triggered by the exit coil, which was mounted on this end, and which would complete the circuit when it was triggered through the series input coil, which was on this end. Well, I've just put a 3D printed cap on there, but that socket there. So that would complete the circuit for the way it works. Now the new board that I made, I had something kind of hit me a little bit because I'm using two triacs on each channel. And I've got the input coils coming in. Well, I've reversed it at the moment because what's happening is we're having to trigger two channels at the same time. Well, actually two channels have got to be switched at the same time, and if there's a slight deviation in the timing of these triacs triggering, it causes, well, basically it doesn't operate in the same way that my original circuit would work. Now if I get the diagram, where is it? It's underneath here. So what I'm thinking, I was thinking early tonight, obviously I'm doing a new choke. I'm going to start making some new chokes at some point. So what I'm thinking at the moment is, because I have my input coil, which is the AC circuit, coming in at this end, normally through the LEDs, two channels, through this toroid, and and I had the capacitors across this junction down at the bottom originally. These brown 1 microfarad polyester metal film, actually I think they are metal film capacitors. I had them across here originally, then I decided to switch things around and put the output coils, which are up there at this end, and have my trigger coils on this end. And I'm thinking, well, hang on a minute, the original circuit was just one triac circuit, which would be this half. And so what I'm going to try later on is basically, because I can use half the circuit, you see, so it would give me basically, instead of 4 channels, I'd have eight channels, because I don't have to connect both ends of the coil. The output coil, both ends of the output coil don't have to both go through both these half channels at the same time. I could just connect one end of my output coil to this connection here, and have the other output coil connected to this connection down here, and that should basically do what this original circuit used to do. And that would give, actually, instead of having 4 channels, I would have 8 channels. Then that would give me a little bit more flexibility as well. So that's something I'm going to be trying next. But I've gone and done my backing. So, well, it's my back just keeps going out on me, and I've been hardly able to move around, and I've been using that bloody thing a little bit, my little walking stick thingy, because I'm having trouble getting up and bending over and all sorts of stuff right now, and I'm at a bit of a state with myself. So I decided to do some SketchUp work tonight because my back's playing up so badly, and leaning over this thing doesn't help things. it really doesn't help me one bit. It makes me feel even worse, actually. Um, Back pain is not pleasant. Anyway, it's just one of those things I'm just going through. So anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reconfigure the circuit. Now, one of the advantages of doing it with this split channel, which is basically what it is, a split channel, is that the trigger coil could technically be fired through the other vacant half channel. So I could in theory have the trigger coil circuit also passing through the other, well, these two coils here, right, these two choke coils here are actually one of these transformers, because the double wound. So I've got one coil winding wrapped around and another coil winding wrapped around, and each coil winding that's on one of these transformers goes to a different half channel, you see. So, and they are in phase. They're not opposing phases. The phases are in sync when these are triggered. So there's no opposing effect going on. It's in sync. So these are wired in such a way, and the diagram that is that they're in phase with each other, so they don't cancel each other out. I don't want a snubber, which is what it will be called. I don't want a snubber network. I want an inductive storage resonance circuit, if you know what I mean. So anyway, I thought I'd just fill you in on that. And the other thing I'm doing is, I've just 3D printed a new for them laminations that I did for the microwave. Actually, let me just go on. Just a minute. If I get up, I'll just go in my other room. So these laminations that I actually got, I'm planning on using. I've split these. I've actually weighed them to get them exactly right. So I've got this E laminations. So they're all identical. There's 4 sets of these. So that's 1, 2, and there's 3, 4. There's another 2 down there. So I'm going to take this set in there because I want to do a test fit on these in that bobbin. I'm not going to take the end brackets, the ones that go on the ends. I'm just going to take these to see if they fit okay. Quite heavy actually. I don't know if I need all of them, to be honest with you. So what I've done is I've made a full size bobbin for 1/4. Oh, 1/4 of all the laminations. So because I've divided them into 4, so I can have 4 channels, 4 chokes. I'll see if I can get that thing off now, because it might have cooled enough. Come out. Come off. Yeah, let's go 1 off. There we go, got them off. Oops. I'll just put that thing on so I don't dull the end of my chisel. I've got these 2 bobbin halves. Now, I'm hoping they're going to fit okay. That's just first thing to do, is to put this on its back. Right. My back's really killing me right now. I'm hoping this is going to fit. If not, it's back to the drawing board. I measured it, so it should do. If I get these laminations all lined up, it should go on there without a problem. This is half a bobbin. I actually print them in 2 halves because I'm going to be sticking the 2 halves together So yeah, you get the idea. The two split bobbins, and I just need to, I've got to clean them up. They've still got some burry bits in some of them. So is this going to fit? I hope I haven't got my sizes wrong. I think it will. I've got to do a bit of I'll have to put the laminations in a few at a time anyway. Yeah, I think it's going to fit. It's just they aren't lined up right yet. I'll see if I can get them lined up. It's hard to do this with one hand, bear with me. As you can see, I've only just printed it. Yeah, they're going to go on. It's already almost half on now. I've got acetone treat it as well. Yeah, I mean it's actually partly on. As you can see in the bottom of there, it's just not quite on. I have to squeeze them together as well. The tolerances are pretty close, so it should be a snug fit. That's going between the E's there, so it's definitely going to fit once I get them put in separately. So anyway, yeah, as I was saying, actually I forgot what I was saying. Yeah, the idea of going back to that principle of, and also I could use the choke on the a bigger choke, this new one for example. But you see, overall, what I've been trying to work out is a way of swapping the drag around. Now, I know that some people have tried this on their designs in the past, where you actually have a cross weave lamination array. Now, that's possible, but it's very intricate. What I'm talking about is the lamination array. Let's say you've got a magnet. Let's say this is a magnet, right? And we've got south field pointing out. Now, as the magnet approaches a coil assembly, let's say that this is the let's say this is the inductive coil assembly, right? I can't draw up a toppy, so we've got our coil, right? Now, what some people have done, which makes sense to me, and it's something I've thought about doing myself, but it means getting more laminations cut, which I can't afford to do anyway right now. But it's like a lamination that comes in and crosses over to the other side like this. You've got basically this formation of lamination where it crosses over and it inverts the field, so that we have flux lines entering on this side here. So the flux is traveling down this piece of steel. It crosses over to this side, and you have this is like a mirror effect as well, and the flux lines come out this end as well. So we basically invert some of the flux so that it actually crosses over the central axis of our secondary coil. So some of it's on the approach, and we have flux lines entering in this direction. But this coil sees the flux lines as basically crossing over to the other side. So it's hard to explain that, but I think you know what I mean. Anyway, that's possible, but yeah, I'm trying not to go there right now because it means redesigning everything, and it's just, I don't want to go down that road right now. It's going to be costly, too costly for me anyway, right at this minute. So I'm going to continue with my choke delay line circuits for now, because I do feel that we did have marginal success with the previous version, and we also had some acceleration observed tested it about a month ago when I did a live stream on that, where it was actually increasing speed during load. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I can solve it in a different way if I keep at it. Right. So anyway, that's it for now. I'm just trying to give you a rough idea of what I'm thinking about at the moment, because yeah, I mean the way I've designed this circuit board, it could be split in, each channel could be half the channel could be used to switch, because you don't have to switch both poles really. I did that because it was something I wanted to try out. Switching half the channel should also be, it might actually work better to switch half the channel. And then I've got the inductive pulses travelling around the cores of these little homemade toroids, which were like very tall toroids actually, transformers anyway. We've got the advantage of sending pulses through the other secondary coil, which we can manipulate with the other triarc on the other side. So I'm fascinated to see what we could do there, because if we have another pulse, if we have enough current flowing through one of these coils on here, and that's delayed in how long it takes to trigger this other triarc, then the other triarc could in theory be switching another coil. So that is something worth exploring. So yeah, I think you get what I'm saying. So if we have one coil, like I was drawing with this coil here, moving past, let's say we send a pulse down through the coil to the first triarc, and that triarc induces the actuation of the transformer, which feeds back in and sends a pulse through the other triarc. Because if you look at the diagram, these coils are actually coupled directly, so these two coils are actually very closely coupled. So a pulse on this coil on here would induce a voltage on this coil over here, which would pass through, which should pass through and also trigger the triarc, but the trimmer would have to be at the other end, and instead of being on this end of the scale, you know, where this middle pot is at this end of the scale, we will move the trimmer pot to this end of the scale, so that you could pick up that pulse from this coil to trigger the triarc on a different phase shift. Anyway, I think you understand what I'm talking about. Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna go anyway. Hope you enjoyed watching, and yeah, so I'm just gonna get on with this for now, this bobbin, and test fit it, and yeah, see, oh yeah, the other thing I was going to do is I'm going to find the resonant frequency of this, because I'm going to wind a coil on here, and what I intend to do is use my frequency generator, which is buried under all this lot. My frequency generator is what I made a few years back, which is, look a bit, move everything over there a bit. So I'm going to find the resonant frequency of these particular coils. I might even check the resonant frequency of these, because I really need to find out what resonant frequency is on these little transformers. I never found out yet. I haven't even tested them yet, to be honest with you. So that's another thing I want to do, is find out what the resonant frequency is of all these chucks. So I never even bothered to check, to be honest with you. I was just basically playing around blind with those. I should have done it first, I suppose, really. But so we're going to start doing some resonance checks by inducing an AC signal from the frequency generator and connecting my oscilloscope up to the coils. What you do is you look for the peak. So you turn the frequency up or down. You vary the frequency until you get a peak that's not normally a peak there, if you know what I mean. If you normally turn the frequency up, it's normally a steady increase and you don't see any peaks, but if you go across a coil, you will see a peak at a certain point. Anyway, so that's something I need to do. I'm probably not going to be live streaming a lot of this, because yeah, I'm just taking my time with it, because there's my hand over the camera. As I say, I'm not very well at the moment, so I'm just going to be pottering about a bit here and there until I get something worth filming. Okay, thanks for watching.